Ben Fordham comments.
I can tell you the Yes campaign is tearing its hair out this morning. Senior representatives of the Yes camp are seething because for the past couple of months they've insisted on discipline. They knew that calling the No camp racist was only hurting their own cause. And they were relieved that that kind of commentary had settled down over the past few months. Earlier in the year it was happening left, right and centre. But then the Yes leadership got together and they said, enough. We need to stay positive and stop all of the personal attacks directed at the other side. But one of the voice architects, Professor Marcia Langton, missed the memo.
Every time the No case raises one of their arguments, if you start pulling it apart, you get down to base racism. I'm sorry to say it, but that's where it lands. Or just sheer stupidity.
Racism and stupidity. This is not an old snippet from Marcia Langton. This is brand new. She was speaking at an event in Western Australia, and she claimed she was not directing the comments at No voters. It was directed at the arguments behind the No campaign.
Base racism. I'm sorry to say it, but that's where it lands. Or just sheer stupidity.
Well, speaking of stupidity, I can tell you leaders of the Yes campaign are furious with Marcia Langton. They were banking on the fact that their worst outbursts happened earlier in the year and they were behind them. They wanted a positive run leading up to referendum day. And now Marcia Langton opens fire. And you would have noticed a distinct change in Noel Pearson's mood and language and approach. Noel is a fiery character. He bulldozes his way through life. But he's been talking about love and positivity. And if the vote goes down, don't bank on that attitude lasting. But Noel Pearson has also made an interesting comment in the last 24 to 48 hours. He seems to be acknowledging one of the main complaints from No voters. It is the lack of detail. How many members will there be on The Voice?
Parliament will determine that.
Do you know if they'll be elected or selected?
Parliament will determine that.
Will Indigenous people get a chance to vote on who sits on The Voice?
You know, as I say, Parliament's going to determine all of the details.
That was part of our chat with Noel Pearson last week. Parliament will work out all of the details. Well, now Noel Pearson is saying The Voice can be refined after its introduction. He says there will be ample opportunity to get the design right after the referendum. So that's an acknowledgement of the problem. We know what we're voting on. It's an advisory body. I think everyone knows that by now. But after that, the details are thin on the ground. Now, I warned the Yes campaign at the start of the year that the lack of detail was killing their chances of success. And the Yes 23 campaign director, Dean Parkin, keeps on coming into this studio, and when we ask him questions, he can't answer them. That is not Dean's fault. That's the result of a strategic error by Prime Minister Anthony Albanese. He decided to sell the vibe and work out the voice later. He wants to leave that up to the Parliament. But you see, that overestimates Australia's level of faith in politicians to get things right. There is a distrust there already. The PM should have heeded the wise words of Murray Gleeson. He's the former Chief Justice of the High Court. He also sat on the Referendum Council. And back in 2019, Murray Gleeson warned, and I quote, "I think it's very likely that Australians would want to see what the body looks like and hear what the voice sounds like before they vote on it." And just to highlight some of the confusion, I'm going to compile a list of the unanswered questions about the voice. I'll share that one with you soon, not today, but over coming days. And when you add up all of the questions and compare it to the lack of answers, it highlights the problem.